Yo, what up, what up, up? Real Fans Podcast, back at it again, another week. I'm here, I'm your host, Gabe. That's your boy, Julian. Julian, say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? What's up, peoples? Yep, another episode 52. We are moving along. But, yeah, Gabe, what you want to talk about today?
I mean, there's a lot to talk about. We talk a little bit about soccer, we talk a little NFL. But let's talk right now. We're in the middle of basketball playoffs. We just had, game 5 last night?
Game 5, yes.
Miami Heat playing Celtics at home. Miami Heat coming off a terrible loss. I think they were held to 80 points the game before. And you think you're going to bring it home, the game is tied up 2-2. The series, is tied up 2-2. They're going to come home. You think they're going to secure it. But Julian, the Miami Heat forgot how to shoot, man. It's just like they didn't know how to shoot. I don't know how much of the game you saw. What were your takeaways from the game or Game 5 in Miami? What did you see?
Yeah, obviously, like second half, they were rolling, especially Duncan Robinson there for a minute in the first half. But then when the second half came around, they were just non-existent. And then it wasn't even just offense. It was just like their defense just looked terrible. Like they just couldn't stop Boston at all. Like I noticed they kept on running like a zone defense, and it just wasn't working. And like Boston would just like run right through it, no problems whatsoever. And to me, it just looked like bad defense more than anything. Like I felt like so many of these plays, and I went back and even rewatched the highlights, and just like I'm watching them, I'm just like, dude, these guys just look like they're just having like all day to shoot. Like they're just driving through the hole with no pressure whatsoever. And it felt like they couldn't switch the game plan at all. Like it felt like they were just sticking to like the same game plan, and it just wasn't working. I don't know what you kind of thought from it.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaways from the game is, man, they've had two bad games in the series. They had one bad game where they split at home, game 2, and we've seen this in the series where they kind of disappear. Where they've been a great shooting team the entire season, but in the playoffs, we've already seen them like just not be able to figure it out, not to be able to put it together, and which is crazy because they actually had a good Game 3 comeback where you see Bam, freaking rain over the entire court. They feed Bam a lot. So yeah, we've seen the Miami Heat disappear, and this is 2 games in a row where they're held under 100 points, which I think is below their. I think they were held to below their season average. So I don't know. I'm still kind of optimistic about Game 6. It's going to be tough going on the road. You go in Game 6 into Boston. You beat them there already once. They won Game 3 over there. I'm still optimistic they can do it, but they're gonna have to play. Like you have to at some point perform. The ball has to go in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's what made me feel. That's the only thing that kind of makes me feel good about it is the fact that they did win on the road already. So it does make me feel a little bit optimistic that and even for them, I'm sure like they have that confidence. Like, all right, we've won here already. We can go back and do it again. Granted, you shouldn't be dropping your home games like that. Especially when you have home court advantage. But it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be really tough. And I feel like the Heat of the series, it just seems like they can't get everybody clicking. And it seems like the games they have won is due to great performances from a couple of players or one player to kind of get them over the hump to get that win. And I feel like we have yet to see the best Miami Heat team this series. And maybe that's just due to Boston just playing great basketball and just knowing how to hold down the Heat. But like, I feel like we have yet to see like the whole team just clicking no matter what happens. And obviously Tyler Hero's hurt right now. So I'm not sure when he's supposed to come back, but it's just like, is he supposed to be back for Game 6?
He was out with the groin. So I assume that, it's kind of a game of one right now. This was a best of 3 series, right? The first of the 2 wins. And so I feel like it's going to be all hands on deck. You have to, because this is it. Like, this is your last ride. This is Game 7 right here. Game 6 is Game 7. So
or get that freeze spray or whatever you know what I'm talking about, where they like every break just
find some updates. But yeah, Also, I want to say like also, I mean, this is big for Celtics, right? Because the guy, their center that came back off an injury, who was out the last series, you seen him actually like the kind of impact that he has on the team, way probably better, more of an impact than
Horford?
Mark. No, Williams,
Oh yeah.
Robert Williams. So I mean, that's also kudos to him. And these teams, I want to give credit to the Celtics too because, like I said, you gave me a lot of shit for calling them the scariest team. They were, I think, the best, the top teams, right? The team
No,
that I
I
was worried
agreed
about.
with you. I just thought it was funny the way you said it, honestly. So
I mean,
yeah, I was just fucking with you.
they're the best team. Unlike the teams I was worried about was Milwaukee and the Celtics, and here we are again. We're playing the Celtics again in the finals. Last time we saw them was in the bubble. So you know, as they're a good team that have been playing. The Boston Celtics are a good team that have been playing well all along, and now they have. It seems like they got the guys rolling. So I want to give credit to them and to their coach who's making adjustments. We seen when the Heat make adjustments, we have a big game three, and when the Celtics make an adjustment, they blow out the Miami Heat. So twice now in a row. So yeah. I'm not too worried. I don't know. People freak out. I'm like, oh, they sway. People make one prediction and they see a big loss and then they go the other way and they see another big win and they go the other. I'm still sticking with the Miami Heat. I think they can pull it off. They have to shoot. They have to shoot way better than they have been these last two games. And
And they
they
need
can
more. They
perform.
need more than a couple players to step up too. Like
Yeah.
they need like the whole like that team is too good and has too many role players that can perform well to just like not show up half the time. Like they need everybody, like all hands on deck, like you said, just like to make shots and play good defense. Like first and foremost, like I said, I just felt I know the score line wasn't crazy high because the first half was really in their favor, but that second half, man, they could. I felt like just Boston would just like run right through them and just score, and then go right back down the court and then do it again. I don't know, like
So yeah. I was looking up this update. Tyler Hero said it's just day to day. So
who knows?
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be all hands on deck. He'll get minutes. I don't know. Not he's not gonna get a start, but he might see some minutes if he can go. And I'm not gonna even blame injuries. Like everybody's dealing with injuries this series. We had Kyle Lowry out for a little bit. Jimmy Butler's knee is still questionable. People are saying that it might have been tweaked. It's something that he's been dealing with all season long, and he might have tweaked it. What's his name? Pritchard. Pritchard, the guy who pulled his knee, and got him out of Game 4. So yeah, I'm still not worried. They have to shoot better. They have to come out explosive like they did in Game 3. Come out explosive and not wait around, not fucking dilly dally and just like, oh, it's like you have to come and come to play. Otherwise, the season's going to be over. So I don't know. Any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on the Celtics? Any last comments? Any shooting comments?
Man, I'm be honest with you. Like I don't see the Heat coming out of it if they don't like drastically change something. Like I mean, you're going to Boston at home. Like they have so much momentum right now. It's just like I don't know. And like you said, the injuries that the nagging injuries that have just been like kind of plaguing the Heat recently. It's like it seems like nobody's like really 100%. It seems like everybody's just kind of dealing with something and just kind of powering through it. But I just feel like I mean the Celtics. I think they had that advantage of going against a Bucks team that was extremely tough to beat, and I just felt like they're just like more ready for the situation. And maybe that comes to the fact that like we were talking about last episode where it was like maybe I think we talked about it in the wrong sense though. Like we said like, oh, does it matter if you have the easiest thing? Does it like mean anything? But I think one thing we didn't bring up is like, I mean, maybe going through that harder path kind of prepares you as you get closer towards the end because you're like, all right, like we beat the Bucks who are defending champs last year. We can beat this this Heat team that's just as good as them. We know like you have that confidence, you know what I mean? I don't know if you think that plays a factor or not to
Um, maybe. Uh, but I
like
don't
that
think it's like
confidence
something.
level
I
and
mean, I
even
don't
like
think it's
that
something that people actually care about. Maybe in the moment now in the series, people say, "Oh, they have the easier schedule," but like nobody remembers the schedule. Maybe the fans who win. But if I
but I
showed
mean
you,
like more so in the sense for like the players are like they already went through like a grueling battle.
yeah,
Like they already kind of like they're already in that mindset, and like even if it's subconsciously, like they're already in that mindset versus a team who just kind of I don't want to say breezed by, but kind of went by with not a whole lot of trouble, and they haven't been like really battle tested yet in this season at least. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if
I think people make a big deal out of who they face. Oh, you didn't go through this person. Oh, you didn't go through that person. You go through whoever's in front of you, right? The Miami Heat played great all year. They got the number one seed for a reason. They've been playing well, and they earned their spot, right? And if they have to face, if you don't like that the number one has to face a number eight, well, then go talk to fucking
yeah,
Adam Silver.
I'm speaking more
That's
so
what they
just
do.
from like that momentum standpoint.
Yeah.
Like you know how
Oh
like a
yeah.
lot
I
of
mean,
wild
it
card
definitely.
teams, like and a lot of wild card teams, like win the Super Bowl because they had that momentum of like playing like that game beforehand, and then versus like a lot of bye week teams end up losing sometimes. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I mean? Like
definitely
just
think,
having that
like you said,
that
it definitely builds confidence. Like to face teams already, you're like, okay, we got through whoever, we got through the Nets, we got through Giannis. It definitely does build confidence, and you are right. I think Boston does have the momentum. I just think Miami definitely has the formula to eliminate the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics are as deep as the Miami Heat. And if Miami Heat come and they shoot well, both teams are. I know both teams are going to play defense well. They're going to cover well. If the Miami Heat come out and shoot well, they'll win. You know what I mean? If they drain threes, they'll win. I have confidence in that. So I'm still believing. I haven't jumped boat yet. Burn the boats. I'm still on the ship. Well, I'm off the ship. Burn the boats.
yeah.
Heat and five, all that stuff. Heat and two. That's what I say.
So let me so you too. So let me like what do you think the chances are getting out? Do you think that it's in obviously I think it's in favor of Boston, but like do you think like it's not like that set in stone that Boston's going to win? Like would you say Boston has a
No,
60% chance of winning the series right now?
sure, I'll say that.
Like
I think,
The Heat are like the underdogs right now going into game 6.
yeah, because definitely you had home court and you lost it last night. You lost your home court. You know what I mean? They split Miami. You split them in Boston. You have to win at home. So it makes it easier. Now you have to win two in a row. You have to win one in a row, and after that you have to win again. So, yeah, I think definitely Celtics they're in favor. They have the momentum, like you said. And am I going to be surprised if they win at home? No, I'm not. But I'm going to be surprised if we see another performance where they don't shoot well and they're shooting whatever 30, 40% from the field or some low ass number.
Yeah.
That'll be
That's
crazy.
the, that's the thing is like I felt like they just haven't been playing like they have in the regular season, which obviously the playoffs is a whole other beast compared to the regular season, but just like it just seems like they just can't get all these gears clicking. But yeah, we'll end it off on that. Let's go to the other game on the Western Conference. We got Dallas Mavericks Warriors. That game is tonight. I see the Warriors closing it out. I'm surprised Dallas even got a win, but
Yeah, and a lot of people were high on Dallas. I haven't been high on Dallas this season. People thought they were playing well the second half of the season. I was just kind of like they were kind of the Cinderella story. I think me and JoJo said before, like they do well if Luca goes. Wherever Luca goes, that's where that team goes.
exactly.
They have a little bit of supporting cast, those guys, and I never expected much out of them. So the fact that the series is now 3-1, they're going into Game 5 in Golden State. I think it's just tough. That's tough. Going into that building is tough because they are playoff battled. Playoff experience, battle warm, battle tested. Yeah, I expect Golden State to be victorious coming into this series. I don't know how much other games that you've seen, but you got the same thing, right, Julian?
Yeah, I think Golden State. I didn't watch too much of this series, but yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. It's Dallas, like they live and breathe through Luca. Like if Luca doesn't show up, they don't win. Like they just you want to talk about a team that has no depth. It's that team. And yeah, I mean, it's impressive that they even made it this far. Some should say they probably shouldn't have because Phoenix dropped the ball, or even the record that they have. But Golden State just has too much firepower, and they're seeming to just like kind of go back to their old ways. The Golden State we haven't seen in a few years, and it seems to be like they're like back. You know what I mean? So they should, at Golden State in San Francisco, they should come back home and just give a whooping to Dallas and get ready for the finals. Get an early break for the finals. And
Rest and health.
see,
I think that's the
because
story of the playoffs. Is whoever's well rested, not injured. Generally, those are teams that make it, especially in a series where you have to play, best, first to four.
yeah, and I mean that's why Golden State, to me, it's like how can you not look at them as finals champions, like as the favorites to win it all? Like, I mean, they're pretty healthy for the most part. They're clicking really well. They haven't really struggled. You haven't seen them struggle at all in the playoffs. And the health factor. They just seem to just be and they're experienced. I mean, how many championships do they have together? It's insane. So I mean, like what, 3?
Yeah.
So
Well, they did
even
spend a
though
little
they
bit.
might not be the strongest,
They might not
what
be
was
strong.
that?
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was gonna say they might not be like maybe you can look on paper, maybe the Heat or the Celtics are stronger. I don't know. It could be debatable, I guess. But you just can't deny that that experience and then just knowing how to play together.
Yeah, I think if anything, if I have a conspiracy, here's my conspiracy: if the Heat lose, that the NBA wants to see the old rivalry, Celtics. Well, Golden State. I was gonna say LA, but
Golden State sucked forever. Golden
yeah.
State, they suck.
Golden State, it sucks forever. I think the two big national, historic teams. I guess Celtics, if you want to count them, even though they won all their championships before the NBA merger. I think NBA is pulling for Golden State. Well, Golden State is going to win straight out, but I think NBA is going to be pulling for
They paid off Chris Paul.
Celtics. Yeah, man. Celtics at home, man. Watch these referees. I don't know who's refereeing. I think they name a game. Is it game the day of the game? They announced the officials. I don't know.
Honestly, I have no idea. I never really thought about when they announced what officials are doing.
I think it's the day of, either the day before or the day of. So we'll see. Scott Foster, I'm looking at you.
But yep, Golden State should get the early rest and win it tonight. Meanwhile, whoever's coming out of this Eastern Conference final, it's going to be pretty banged up for the most part, no matter who it is. But let's switch to the other playoffs that are going on right now, and our beloved Panthers have absolutely choked. The biggest choke job I've ever seen from a number one overall team in the history of sports.
Pretty bad.
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
not shooting well in basketball. The Panthers, they shot. Their score differential was tremendous this season. Like, they had one of the best point differentials this season, and
most goals scored.
Yeah, most goal scorers, and they just disappeared. Like, they had nothing for Tampa. Shout out to Tampa, to the Lightning. Their goalie Vasilevsky is amazing. Like, that guy is really good, and the guy is on fire. And that's kind of what you need, I guess. In hockey, you need a hot goalie to make defensive stops. And Vasilevsky completely eliminated anything for the Panthers. Panthers.
This was not Bob's series. It was not Bob's series.
I think he played well. Bobrovsky, I think he played well overall for the circumstances. The Panthers, they were terrible on power play. So when they're down, man, they're playing 4. They're up 5-4 on the ice. They're like 0 for like something amazing. Like, they hadn't scored. They were like 0 for 30-something, 20-something, 30-something in power plays in the playoffs, and they just didn't do.
It was something ridiculous, yeah. And even got scored on during their power plays. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, on a bad pass by Uyghur. Uyghur's playing terrible this series. Panthers, they had nothing. Like, it's tough, especially when you lose at home. It's kind of deflating. You think you at least win one at home. That first game, you think that's the reason why you get first place. You get home ice. You think you get at least split, and they lose that first game, devastating. Lose the second game, you have to go to Tampa game 3, and obviously Tampa closes it out. They got swept.
Dude,
and
I didn't tell you, man, because I was at game 2.
Yeah.
Man, when they scored with 3 seconds left, like in that transition, because they're raining shots for the last like minute and a half and just raining. I'm thought like, man, at any second they might actually close this game out right here. And then 10 seconds left, which is pretty much the story of the series. Got killed in transition and scored with 3 seconds left. And man, you could hear a pin drop in that fucking arena. You could, I mean, it was people were just shocked, like they couldn't believe it. And then like a couple seconds later, people just started getting up and just walking out.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So they got swept. A lot of hype. I think overall nationally, I think the Panthers were kind of an ignored team, just kind of like the Heat, kind of same kind of story.
It's not a classic team, you know.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your opinions overall of the season? There, just talk about the playoff performance, and then overall as a season, like what do you think the Panthers accomplished?
I mean, when it comes to the regular season, like it doesn't get any better, really. I mean, it's the best regular season in history of Panthers in Panthers history. I mean, the most points scored, um, like in a season, like Huberdeau get the franchise record for the amount of goals scored for the franchise. And I mean, like you couldn't ask for a better season. Like you said, the point differential, it wasn't just them scoring points. There's also having the defense to be able to withhold them from scoring points and it was like when the playoffs came around and when I saw them struggling against Washington, that's what made me a little nervous too. Is like they would lead in shots on goal, but the shots just wouldn't convert. Then they lost that scoring touch that they had in the regular season, whatever that might be, whether it be coaching, which I know a lot of people are thinking about, because obviously this coach this year was an interim coach due to the whole scandal with the coach who started out the season. So a lot of people are thinking about possibly getting another coach or debating if they want to retain him. But is like you can't look at the. I mean, it was just disappointing. It was extremely disappointing playoff run. I mean, and then to lose like that I mean, they lost a ton of. I mean, they lost how many home games? I mean, they probably won like 2 home games.
They had an amazing home record. I don't know if they.
No, I'm talking about this playoffs though. They only won like 2 home games because I want to say they stole 2 games at Washington.
Yeah, they won
So
game 6.
they only won 2 home games out of the possible, what was it, 5? So you dropped 3 games at home. Like, come on, dude. And it's just like this is your chance for redemption against Tampa. And yeah, I mean, it was redemption because almost every single game they were leading on shots and goal. And like you said, with the power plays and everything, like they just couldn't convert on these. They couldn't get solid, clean shots. They felt like their passing was a little off, and they just couldn't get those clean shots to like finish it out. And I mean, honestly, they didn't look like a team that deserved to win. Like they deserved to win. They looked sloppy. They were getting their shots on goal, but they weren't like very clean and great opportunities. And then they would just get killed in transition.
Yeah,
because they were owning possession and shots on goal. They just in transition, the defense fell apart, and they would just go right through and score on my boy Bob.
Yeah, I think they got staggered a lot. They got stuck in the mud. They weren't very creative, like trying to create shot potential. I mean, I've seen if you look at the highlights, some of the shots this season, they do amazing stuff in transition. Offensively, but a lot of times they got stuck in the mud, and it seems like they weren't creative. As far as the coach, we had a transition coach. It was an assistant that got booted up because the head coach got bounced for some previous controversy from another job that he worked for.
The Blackhawks, yeah.
Blackhawks. So, but overall, like it's the congruency of or the difference between the regular season and the playoffs. Like we saw them play amazingly well. Shoot high numbers. It doesn't matter. They go down 2. It doesn't matter. That's exactly where they want you because they're going to shoot. They'll make five goals in the second period, in the second and third period. So yeah, I think overall though, I think you can still call it a successful season, right? We always got stuck in the first round, the Panthers, and they finally get to the second round, and it was a tough road. Either way, their road to success was going to be tough. You had to go to the Capitals, like I said. That's a battle-tested team, a championship team. They won before. Ovechkin, probably the GOAT right now, is playing right now. He's the Tom Brady of the NHL. So you had a tough road there, and you go out and you win it, you pull it off. Even though you have devastating losses, you should have won 2 at home. You still win on the
Yeah,
road
and then
against.
the defense was just terrible. Like the amount of goal. Like I'm looking at the scores right here. Um, I'll start from the very first Capitals game and work all the way to the last game. So they allowed 4, 1, 6, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2, 5, 2.
Yeah.
They only had one game where they held them to no, not even. Yeah, only one game they held them to one score on defense,
So
and multiple games of 3 or
multiple,
more.
yeah, 3 or more. So, but overall, though, I mean, I think it's disappointing that you get swept like that. Like at least you give them at least one game, but that's kind of devastating. But I think overall, I think the season's still a success. I mean, like you said, the amount of scoring that we've seen this year, the amount of records that have been broken, season records, franchise records, for the team individually and as a group, I think it's overall success. It is disappointing, but if you can't get past Tampa Lightning, which they won back to back, this is a championship team. If you can't get past them, then maybe you don't deserve. Like you said, maybe you don't deserve to win. Like you don't
Yeah,
deserve a championship run. This is
yeah.
a good. It's not like it got beat by a sorry team. You know what I mean? This is the back to back champions. It's not like this is
Yeah,
like some
and they could go again.
yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like it's a net positive. You made it farther. You had a better regular season than you did last year. You made it farther in the playoffs than you did last year. Granted, you lost to the same team, and you probably lost to them worse. And that's probably my biggest gripe is like not even so much losing to Tampa because I could live with that, but the idea that you got swept, that's just embarrassing. And then the idea of the amount of goals that you allowed in this like playoffs is embarrassing. And the fact that like they got saved multiple times in the last series and winning in overtime or last second or making like crazy comebacks. And the thing is, at the end of the day, if you're a team with this high powered offense, you shouldn't be down so much. You shouldn't with the highest point differential in the league. Like you should be leading games all the way through, and that's just like what you expect when you do it. But the good thing is, it is a young team. You're relatively going to be getting the same squad back next year. This is a team that's kind of built for the future, which is great. Unlike the playoff run a few years ago, I think like 2015, 2016, that was a really old team that squeezed in and had an old Yager in there. But this team, this new squad is a younger, more established team that can make a run for the next couple years. And yeah, if they can get the right stable coaching staff to take the reins of that team, they could potentially win the cup. Maybe if next year. I mean, that's at the end. I mean, at this point, it's championship or bust. Like next year, it's championship or bust to me. Like you have to be in that in that race. You know what I mean? Like you got to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or the finals. Like with a team with this much firepower, I expect nothing less. You know what I mean? But we'll see what they do with the coaching staff. I'm curious to see what happens. Is there any other teams that you're rooting for now that the Panthers are out?
Well, the big dogs in the East, obviously, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the champions. Hurricanes are the Carolina Hurricanes right now. They're tied 2-2 against the Rangers. They're playing. I've seen some highlights from them. That game seems exciting, but I think the Hurricanes are the favorites to come out of it. So I think the next series in that conference should be exciting, exciting one. And as far as the teams left over on the other
Yeah,
side,
Tampa's going to go either against New York or Carolina, which, yeah, like you said, that'd be pretty good.
yeah, Colorado, the Avalanche are the favorites to win overall. I think they're the best team to win overall. So
Yeah, they're the best in the West. Yeah,
I'm going to go for, I think I'm going to be rooting for Tampa because if I'm going to get beat, I want to be beat by the champions. And
yeah, that's the best way to say.
you
That's
can't
the
make fun
best
of
way
it.
to
You
go
can't beat
about it.
everybody. So,
Yeah,
I think I'll be rooting for Tampa. It's an in-state, in-state rivalry now. It's turned, I hope you guys win so I don't feel so bad.
so you don't look so bad. Imagine if Tampa gets swept next round. You're like, fuck, dude. But
yeah,
hockey's built on parity, so it's
yeah.
like
that next
Shit
matchup,
happened.
hopefully Carolina comes out, and then Carolina versus Lightning should be an exciting one in the playoffs.
I hate to do it, but maybe I would have root for the Lightning just because, yeah, like you said, because I don't really care for any of these other teams. I would say St. Louis, but St. Louis is about to lose in Colorado, my guess. But yeah, I mean, just Tampa, just so I don't feel so bad about losing or getting swept. Like we lost. Both our playoff runs were to the were ended by the champions,
Yeah,
a
so
three-peat champion. So I feel less bad that we lost to a dynasty team. We lost both playoff runs to a dynasty team. It's like I'll take that L. Like I'll take.
it'll hurt less more. The pain will hurt less more.
It's like, bro. It's like the 2000 to 2004 Patriots. It's like, bro. I mean, like it was a dynasty team. Like I feel less bad about losing that. Like or whatever their last dynasty run was.
All right.
But yeah. Speaking of football, well, speaking of Tom Brady, let's just bro, this guy he's gonna be a billionaire soon. He's got to be close to it. Like between his TB12, all the money he's playing football, the dude's on commercials like every other day. Has a new commercial because he's probably made so much more money leaving New England than he ever did being in New England because he's like in so much more stuff. He does so many more things now that he's gone because I think that whole Patriots way it didn't allow him to kind of do that. But he just signed a 10-year deal worth $375 million with Fox Sports. And I'm pretty sure that's more money than he's ever made playing football, which is wild to me. Like that is, or at least close to it.
Yeah.
I'm curious what this means. I didn't look too much into what exactly he'd be doing. Would he be like a play-by-play color
I
commentator, or is he like just a pregame like analyst,
I
for
think
like
it's
shows?
I think it's going to be booth. So I think that he's going to be going into the booth. If he's not doing one of the, like the halftime show, they already have. I think Fox already has a halftime show. That's the one with like Boomer and what's his name?
Michael
Colin.
Strahan, Terry Bradshaw,
Yeah,
Howie
yeah.
Long. Yeah.
Howie Long. So those guys are pretty much set for the halftime shows. They transition games through. So I think they're going to have him as an in booth guy. And because I think Troy Aikman, who was it? Oh no, Drew Brees also was supposed to be in the booth, and I think he got. I don't know if he got canned. He might have. He might have because Drew
No,
Brees.
he didn't do the booth with NBC. He did like the Football in America with
Okay.
NBC with Tony Dungy. He wasn't in the booth though. That was Al Michaels and fucking oh my god, what's the dude's name?
Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth. Yeah, yeah. But he did the
So
thing. But he was saying, yeah, he's not sure. He's another one. He's like he's not sure if he wants to come back to football or not, or go back to NBC.
so as far as Tom Brady, I think they're gonna have him in booth, but he might be around. But I guess I mean, kudos to him. I guess that's the perks of being a champion, being the goat. So I guess it's nice to have that's a nice thing to know. You have a job lined up after you're done with your first job, that you already have another job lined up.
Okay, so real quick, I don't think he's going to be in the booth. What it sounds like is this is like from Tom Brady's Twitter and from Fox. He retweeted Fox Sports NFL. He's like, "We are pleased to announce that immediately following his playing career, 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady will be joining us at Fox Sports as our lead analyst." So it doesn't necessarily sound like he'll be in a booth.
Okay. Well, I think that's probably a better
Same.
position for him because I think pretty much I don't know about you what you think, but I think Tom Brady's pretty boring. I don't think he's interesting at all. I think
Oh
people
wait,
are interested.
actually, shit. I think it might be. It might be the booth. It's like turning on the TV and seeing the GO on NFL Fox booth. Honestly, I think it's saying booth, so maybe he is gonna be. He's like replacing Troy Aikman, I guess.
Yeah, because Troy Aikman's going to Amazon, or I forget where he's going.
Monday Night Football. Him and Joe Buck. They finally got a crew for that.
But yeah, I don't think Tom Brady's that interesting. I am interested to see what he thinks about the game. Like, I think the gold standard is Tony Romo, and if you can't get on Tony Romo's level, like I'm not interested in Tom Brady. Like, I'd rather listen to nothing. I'd rather put it on mute than listen to Tom Brady. Like, unless you're telling me plays,
Or even
if
like
you're giving
the
me
Peyton
insight on,
Manning shit, the
yeah.
Peyton Manning simulcast, that was good. That was really good.
So
It was a little bit more laid back, but man,
yeah,
the way it hit the Mannings and like, or when whoever guest had on like Russell Wilson, I remember that game specifically. Man, the way they were analyzing stuff was fucking awesome, and how like they just knew things that like I've never heard of before, and like they're just calling shit. And Russell Wilson's like saying this, Peyton Manning's like, oh yeah, they're running. It's like you see the audible. It was wild. I was like, wow, this is actually really cool.
and that kind of insight is, I think, valuable. That's something that I am interested in. As far as Tom Brady, do I think he's going to say anything interesting? If it's not going to be football knowledge, like I don't, I'm not, I don't really care. I actually want Tom Brady out of my life as quickly as possible. Still in my life.
Yeah, I will
So
say he doesn't sound very like I guess charismatic, I guess. I don't know how to say. He doesn't sound super entertaining. He sounds a little bit dry. So I am curious to see how this like works out for him to have a talking career. But yeah, man, like you're right though. With Romo, he knew shit was gonna happen before it happened. Like he would see something happening, he'll say exactly what's gonna happen, and then it would happen. I
yeah,
feel like Troy
that's
Aikman was never really that way. Troy
no,
Aikman is kind of more like he's like I don't know. Troy Aikman has his own thing because he's not like really dissecting it super deep. I feel like Troy Aikman's a little bit more simplistic with it, and he's not like trying to predict things that are happening. He's just kind of
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
explaining things that happen after the fact. It
Yeah,
seems like.
and he's been a broadcaster for a while now. It's been a while since he's played. So he's definitely closer to his broadcasting career than he is his football. But I think still, as far as Troy Aikman, people still like him, and he's still a pretty good game. I mean, I don't mind listening to him on a game. Sometimes he does Thanksgiving games or these Monday night games, whatever. So yeah, as far as Tom Brady, we'll see. I'm not getting too hype about it. Like I don't, like I said, I don't think he's that interesting. I don't think he says interesting things. But if he's gonna give me like football knowledge and see plays, if he can tell me plays before they happen, or he can see things that I can't see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I'm interested in.
And
But
I feel like obviously like Fox had to do something big. I mean, losing Troy Aikman, and then CBS has Tony Romo. It was like you needed somebody else. I'm curious who's going to be next to him, because obviously you need to have that dynamic of like how to bounce back and forth. Personally, I would have really liked to see him more so on the table with the other guys we were talking about, the pregame and the halftime. I feel like that would have been really entertaining to see like them all, like six of them, like, or I can't think of how many there are, all six of them like really like interacting with each other. I think that would have been really interesting, and like the banter we could hear.
no,
But I guess they need. I don't know. This man just loves football and traveling around and doing football games. So he's gonna be doing that. He's still gonna be traveling every Sunday.
yeah.
But
Uh, yeah. What other news in the NFL is
all
going
right,
on?
yeah. So all right, I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you're looking at the thing already, but I don't know how this man still has a job. But the Indianapolis Colts just signed another quarterback to back up Matt Ryan, and it's a 2-year deal. Guess who the quarterback is?
I don't know, man. Who are you telling? Who is it?
Nick Foles.
Wow,
The legend of Nick Foles
wow.
is back. I don't know if you saw the news, but Nick Foles has signed a 2-year deal with the Indianapolis Colts. He's reuniting with Frank Wright, because I don't know if you remember, Frank Wright was the offensive coordinator during that time when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, or the quarterback coach. He was either the offensive coordinator or the quarterback coach. I want to say he's the offensive coordinator. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know how this guy. He has the best agent of all time. Like the amount of money that he swindled from the Jags, and then going to Chicago, somehow picked up his deal. Like I, his career was dead for a moment in Kansas City. Then he went back to Philly. I don't know. This guy has been resuscitated so many times, and he's made so much money. For a guy who went on some magical run somehow, and
Yeah,
it's hilarious. Like
yeah. I
it's
don't. I don't.
absolutely.
I guess it's okay to have him as a backup. Matt Ryan. We'll see what he does with the Colts. But yeah, you're right. Nick Foles feels like a waterlogged corpse that's floating down the river and then and just falls in and say, "We'll take you." Comes out like the swamp man, shuffles his knees. He has bilateral knee cast. He just shuffles them up there. He got a shoulder pad. He just walks into the Colts
He's
facility.
just floating. He's like a beached whale. He just shows up to the facility. But his contract, the money is not released yet. The details on the money. I'm curious to see how much he's made. I'm sure he's probably going to get decently. He's probably going to get 10 mil or more a year, which is just crazy to me. But
Hey, did you see,
I mean, I guess the last thing, Indianapolis, they've been like having such a hard like quarterback situation lately. This is probably the most secure that situation has been because you had Phillip Rivers. I mean, Phillip Rivers played throughout the whole season and he gave him some good football, but he was really on the tail end of his career and didn't really have much left to give. But he led him to the playoffs. Carson Wentz was a disaster. He would look good at times, but he looked like he was going to give you a heart attack because he was going to do something stupid or sprain both of his ankles at the same time. But this seems a little bit more stable having Matt Ryan, who's obviously just been he's been in the league for 15 years now, a veteran's veteran. I think he still has a little bit left. I think he still has a couple years left. But he's old. One hit could mess him up. I guess having a Nick Foles like that as that safety net, like Indianapolis is trying to win it all. And then obviously Frank Wright, the Indianapolis head coach, is familiar with him, obviously going on the Super Bowl run with him. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny when I saw that. I was like, man, this guy just like he comes to life when he first got drafted in Philly, and then he died off, went to St. Louis, got a big contract, died, then became a backup in Kansas City. And then when Doug Peterson went to Philly and left Kansas City, he brought Nick Foles with him. Nick Foles then somehow came back. They won a Super Bowl. Then he goes to Jacksonville, dies again. Somehow they get traded, goes to Chicago, dies again, and somehow he's back. And who knows? Maybe he'll win another fucking Super Bowl with the goddamn Indianapolis Colts and be the most ridiculous story I've ever seen in football history.
Did you also see in the news? I think it came out yesterday. They were showing a video. Kaepernick got a tryout with the Raiders, I believe. That's going on. I don't know if you
Dude,
saw
it's
that.
too long. It's been too long.
Listen, if Nick Foles can get a job,
Nick Foles is a Super Bowl champion, okay?
you just called him a water
no, but to be fair, Nick Foles has been in the NFL every year, though. I mean, when was the last time Kaepernick was in? It's been like, what, 5 years now? 5 seasons? It's been a while. Maybe not 5. Well, maybe 5, actually.
Listen, man, Drew Brees coming back. Okay, Nick Foles coming back.
Drew Brees should not come back. Drew Brees had a dead arm. Man, I'll never forget that playoffs.
The last play. It was like the last throw.
Oh,
it was like
man,
it was like a Hail Mary. Throw it down the playoffs and fucking landed 10 yards short.
You know what's so crazy? It was like in the course of a year because the year before that, he still looked like Drew Brees. But then literally his final year, he just had a dead arm. But, I mean, they might be the same age, actually, because Nick Foles said he was 33, Colin Kaepernick. But, man, I just feel like when you're out of the league for that long, you lost that kind of speed of the game. He's older than Nick Foles. He's 34. So like 34 hasn't played in like
he's a healthy
hasn't played in like 4 or 5 years.
He's still got cartilage on those knees.
So is Nick Foles.
Nick Foles gonna go out there. You know, remember a Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises when he has to put the thing on his knees. The little robotic shit, the cyborg shit on his knees. That's Nick Foles.
Yeah, I just feel like it's too late for Kaepernick, man. I just feel like it's been too long. Like, if he gets it, that's great, but I don't know, man. I feel like it gets to a point where it's just been too long, and it's like, how long are you going to keep on giving him tryouts, you know? Like, you going to keep on doing a TO thing where TO's like fucking 45, still like hosting like personal tryouts and inviting scouts, and then nobody shows up. Bro, T.O.'s balling right now. T.O. is living his absolute dream. Just to sidetrack a little bit, T.O. is living his dream in that fan-controlled football. He's absolutely balling on people at like 50 some years old. And it is the funniest shit seeing Johnny Manziel throw Terrell Owens a touchdown pass. That shit is so funny. And he loves it, dude. He looks so happy because, man, I don't know if you remember when, like, back when he was like right before he was forced to retire, it was just sad. It was like just knowing when to hang it up. Like, I'll never forget, he hosted a essentially like a pro day, like a tryout thing, and invited people. No one showed up from the NFL. No team showed up, and it was just media there. And he's just running routes on like in front of cameras, and it was just like it was just so sad. And I was like, man, that just had to be like such a low point for him. Like so, but yeah,
But yeah, anything else in the NFL you want to talk about? Well, we're talking about NFL news.
yeah. So I think your team, your quarterback, man, he has the prettiest balls in the NFL. He's the he's the So I don't know if you've seen Tyreek Hill got questioned in a press conference about the viral video Tua's pass and how Tyreek Hill had to stop and come back to it. And it was a pretty funny interview. And he was talking. They were asking him the question. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, like." He's like, yeah, man, he's got a good ball. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, it's got a nice spiral. He's throwing it far enough. He got some pretty balls. He's like, wait, that sounds weird. he's like, he's like you know what I mean? Like, so it was just hilarious. I just thought I'd bring that up to you. I don't know if you saw
Listen,
that.
man, I didn't see any of it. I did see the Dolphins. They put out more spiral videos of him on the
It's looking
run.
crisp.
Obviously,
They had to redeem him.
their propaganda, machine has activated, and they're now putting out perfect spirals all the
Oh
time.
yeah, as a
Um,
propaganda social media Dolphin videos, dude, to make him seem
I
like
think it's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. Like again, I don't want to talk about pre-game, preseason practice football. Like, let me see them actually play somebody. Like, I
Bro, you
honestly
know what
don't.
they're doing? They're
Nobody's been
as
criticized.
soon as it leaves to his hand, it clips to like a another video of Patrick Mahomes
Oh,
throwing,
somebody clips it in. Oh,
and then
Patrick Mahomes.
as it's getting close, it switches over to
It's
Tyreek catching
Tyreek Hill in a red jersey.
it. And they just are posting like Tyreek Hill Kansas City Chief practice highlights. Oh man, but yeah, that's just thought it was funny. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is going to defend his quarterback. Um, but yeah, let's just
All
say
right.
the propaganda machine for the Dolphins is on full effect right now. But
They have to watch. They have to watch what they did. All right, let's finish it.
yeah, so over the past week, um, there's been like obviously two big storylines in soccer. There was the signing of Erling Haaland at Man City and Kylian Mbappe staying with PSG. I'm going to mainly focus on Mbappe, but they both have very similar contracts. They both have like specifically Mbappe. The details haven't came out yet, but he probably has the biggest contract in sports history. It is absolutely insane. Um, I have the information here. So I think what's reported is that gosh, where's that? I literally just had it.
Extend his contract to 2025. 2025.
Yeah, to 2025, but I was trying to get the here we go. So according PSG, so obviously all the rumors for pretty much the past year have been talking about Mbappe once his contract's over, he's going to Real Madrid. He's going to Real Madrid. That's pretty much set in stone. But then literally last week, like PSG was doing everything they possibly can to keep him. Obviously, for those who don't know, PSG has extremely wealthy owners from the Middle East that just have a ton of oil money. They have so much money. But PSG's offer surpassed the terms of Real Madrid's offers, which and Real Madrid's offer was $130 million US dollar signing bonus with a $25 million annual net salary. PSG's counteroffer that he eventually ended up taking was a $125 million signing bonus with a monthly salary of $5 million. That currently doubles his current pay at PSG. So they almost doubled his salary. They over doubled his salary with a little bit less of a signing bonus. So, and now the La Liga, not even Real Madrid, La Liga is um, getting really upset and talking about and sending formal thing, like, I don't know, what forms or whatever, I don't know, saying that PSG really needs to get looked into. This is very dangerous. This is very Super League-esque because of the amount of money that they are allowed to, that they have spent, and it's affecting the market. So in case you don't know, Gabe, you probably do, but like, obviously world soccer, there's no salary caps. People,
Yeah.
the market's the market. There's no like cap on it. But PSG has been official statement. That's the best word. That was the word I was looking for. Saying that this is dangerous for the transfer market. It's affecting. People aren't going to be able to compete anymore. Right now, PSG. Right here, the squad, the PSG squad right now costs $650 million on payroll.
Oh shit.
That's it.
Half a billion.
That's over $500 million on payroll that their squad costs. Like, that is insane. It's so much money. So yeah, La Liga is really upset about it, and like, uh, and it's crazy to see how much money that they are spending just to keep him, and it's just wild. And I just wanted to bring it up because it's just like, obviously he's one of the young superstars in the league right now, probably one of the best players in the league next to Holland. Holland had a very similar contract, but a little bit less. But yeah, I mean, 23 years old, 21 years old, something like that. Um, yeah, 23 years old. I mean, still super young. I think he had a strategic deal doing it to 2025 because, dude, 2025, he's going to be 26 years old. He's still in the prime of his career for another fat contract that's most likely going to be bigger. But this brings up the question for you, Gabe. Do you think that something do you think La Liga is right in giving a statement saying that this needs to be looked into, and how this is like affecting the market too heavily for like these companies to just throw cash at players?
Um, I think. I mean, to be player empowerment guy. I mean, he is worth whatever teams are worth to pay for him, right? I'm not gonna dig in somebody else's pocket and tell somebody else what they should earn or especially being him young, a valuable player. People want him. No, I think it's crying over spilled beans. I mean, the market is what the market is, right? The price is the price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. How it affects overall? Maybe it makes availability. That's what it is, right? Isn't that capitalism? A free open market. You
Yeah.
pay what the market price is, and that's the market price. I mean, if you don't believe in capitalism, I mean, I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying capitalism is all be all, but this is what it is. You know what I mean? This is not a. He costs what it costs. All right.
I will say, it is it. I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, like, if they want to pay that much, then pay that much. But I do see where they have the concern, where it's like, these guys are spending. They have so much fucking money. They're buying up everybody. But I mean, to be fair, it doesn't look like it's really working out for them either, because they got knocked out in the round of 16 in the Champions League uh, by Real Madrid. So we'll see if spending money is going to end up being the answer for them. Obviously, it's going to affect everything a lot in the short term. Things will probably balance out, but I don't think world football has ever seen like a team spend as much money as much as PSG is with this new ownership. It is insane. It is wild to see how much these guys are spending. Um, but you can spend a lot of money, but don't mean you're going to win. So it's just it's crazy, dude. Like, this is fuck ton of money. That's so much. That is so much fucking money for play soccer. Like when you really think about it, like that's so wild. That's so wild. But yeah,
All right, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week. I mean, we appreciate y'all guys listening to us, watching us, downloading us on YouTube, Facebook, all the things, Spotify, Apple Music. I'm not even playing around. We really appreciate all the listeners to come out. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, we'll have JoJo on. MLB is going on. We'll hopefully talk more with that. NBA playoffs. We'll bring you more NBA playoffs. Hopefully, we'll watch NBA. I don't know. Is there any UFC fights going on that's coming out that we should be?
there's really nothing I really care to watch. I was looking at it the other day. It's nothing really. I mean, there's a Adesanya fight coming up in the next like few pay-per-views, but even I don't know. There's not much. Nothing crazy. We had a period of a lot, so.
If there's big news sports going on, we'll listen to it. We'll discuss it here. Real Fans Podcast. We appreciate all the downloads and subscribing. Thank y'all for listening. We'll be back next week.
Peace.